Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Life, Love, and Conservation with your host, me, Carolyn Hennesy, your livingest, lovingest, conservingest host ever. So this, I think, is episode 4. Producer Eric, where are you, Producer Eric?
Hey, I'm here.
This is episode 4, isn't it?
Yes, this is
Oh,
episode 4.
we're
We've made it
just
to.
we're just chugging along. It's the little engine that could,
We
or
are, and
or the thing that wouldn't die. We're not
no,
quite
it's a
sure.
pretty.
We're not quite sure what it is. But
No,
welcome once again.
and we're getting
We
so many great comments on Facebook and on social media. So
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
I know, me too. I know people are loving it, and especially those General Hospital fans. But we're gonna start branching out and talking about a few different topics. But here's some really cool news. We have 4 episodes in. We have our first sponsor.
Woo!
Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing? Yes, Univera. And it is a company that takes aloe vera. In fact, they own massive numbers of aloe vera farms. And so they take aloe vera, which we all know is so good for your skin, keeps it so hydrated. And they have turned it into, they sent me a whole box of products, but the two that I dove into, it's 2 days ago when they sent it to me, is this botanic, this flavon serum and this machiol sebum serum. I'm a serum girl, in case anyone had a question.
They're
And they
they're
are
so
so,
pretty.
yeah, they're so, well, you should see the bottles. I took them out of the bottles, but I saved these because I knew I was going to be talking about them. So they're empty, but because the actual bottles are sitting on my nightstand. But they are so smooth. They are they are so light, and they're very absorbent. I mean, 2 days, you really kind of can't see, no matter what anybody says, you can't see what anything's doing for you. But hopefully by the next episode, I will have fabulous things to report. I can already tell. And they also, what's good for the outside is also good for the inside. They do like metagreens, this aloe vera drink powder, because, and I did not know this, but in researching this company, I found out that aloe vera is loaded with prebiotics. These things, this company loads these things with prebiotics, and it smooths out your digestive system. And Lord knows, if anyone
Yes.
needs a smooth digestive system, it's me. It's me. I mean, potassium mineral supplements. They've got, this sleepy time. Now, I personally, as a practicing hoodoo, have we talked about hoodoo? I don't know if we have.
No, we haven't talked about hoodoo
No,
yet.
we will talk about what hoodoo is, and the fact that I am a practicing conjurer, and so I have my own sleep aid. And believe me, of all the oils that I have concocted and kind of put together, compounded, the sleep aid, which is a non-spiritual oil, is the one that flies off the shelves. But if I ever run out, I'm going to try this. Anyway, they sent me a whole box of things, and I am so grateful to them. So yay, thank you so much, Univera. They're out of Seattle, and I think, what is it, univera.com. So
Yep, univera.com.
yeah, there you go. Producer Eric knows. So today, for the life episode, for the life segment, we had so many people write in about what they would like to see, what they would like for me to talk about. And one of them was so interesting. Oh God, I can't remember her name. I should have written it down. But she said, talk about your early theatrical experiences in the basement theater. What? Now, when I was just a young actor, very green, starting out, I lived over in a section of Los Angeles called Highland Park. And I was doing community theater, you name it. Equity waiver theater. I was just really paying my dues, your dues, everyone's dues. I have paid everyone's dues. And so one of these little theater productions was with this group called the Basement Players. So this person who's following my Facebook page obviously was a member of the Basement Players, knew me and saw me in the Basement Players. Anyway, so it was in the basement of this church, right? And so here's what I remember from doing things like, Agatha Christie's Go Back for Murder, or Agatha Christie's Witness for the Prosecution, or Dracula. I mean, I think I did three of those shows there. Now, the director of all these shows. I mean, this is many, 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 many years ago. And I have a big birthday coming up this Sunday because June 10th is my birthday. Share it with Judy Garland. Thank you. And it's a big one. So this was many, many years ago. But the director of the Basement Players and the director of these productions was a man named Bill. I am not going to give you his last name because even though I know that he has passed on, I would like his memory to remain somewhat untarnished because he was a lovely, lovely man. Well, he worked at one of the big, big costume houses in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. Okay. So he worked there during the day, and then he was Eric von Stroheim, Cecil B. DeMille in the evening, directing these little tiny theater productions. So we were all, as I say, very, very green actors, and there were no production values. There was no set. It was a church basement. But what there were costumes because he could get the costumes. We went to this costume house, very prominent, for fittings, and we would, and he would get all of these costumes, thousands of dollars worth of costumes, for tens of thousands, and he was able to take them out of Western costume. Oops, I said it. Oh well, whatever. I think he's passed on. And I'm sure they haven't missed it. All right, Western costume. Don't come after me because I don't have any more. But what he couldn't do is he couldn't get them back in, because there was paperwork, and he could not. He could get everything out, couldn't get it back in without questions being raised. And again, this was like umpteen years ago. So at the very end of all of these productions, it was like a fire sale. We just walked off with peignoirs and capes and capelets and ascots and ties. I still have things. Okay, one or two things. I still have one thing. I still have a tie. I have a tie. But most everything else has been given away to other costume houses or back to that one. So I just remember the productions were just these schmaltzy little affairs. God bless. But boy, did we look good. We looked great. And again, I ended up, I was when I was doing the Groundlings, years later. And I would need a costume for this or a costume for that. Odds are I had it because of the Basement Players and Bill and, a production of Dracula where I had to, be sort of drapey in a drapey peignoir. So the Basement Players. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what we do when we are first starting out. Listen, what we do now. But when we are first starting out, yeah, that's a fun little aspect of my life. Stolen clothes and schmaltzy little theater. But that's how you grow as an actor, not by wearing purloined clothing, but by just doing everything you can, saying yes when the opportunities come up. You don't say no at that point unless they're asking you to do something illegal, immoral, or fattening. You just pound the pavement and hone your craft and hone your craft and hone your craft. And I was very fortunate that I looked really good, doing it. So whoever asked about the Basement Players, God bless. Thank you. Yeah, that's boy, that takes me back. Really, really takes me back. So I want to talk about something that I thoroughly love now. Let's talk about love. In addition to serums, we've got Father's Day coming up this Sunday, the 12th. And my father has been gone. A lot of you asked me to talk about my father. And I'm so happy to do this because he was one of the great loves of my life. So how could I not? We lost my father in 1981 and I was 19. Okay, you do the math. Yes. Okay, I'll just say it. Yeah, I'm going to be 60. Hang on. I just need a moment. Yeah, I'm going to be 60 on Friday. That's all right. It's good. I can't decide. Producer Eric.
You rang.
I can't decide whether or not I should be horrified or somewhat excited about that. What are your thoughts?
I think you should be excited. You
Okay,
know,
good,
like
good.
60's the new 30.
60 is the new 30, exactly. And
Yeah.
60 on a trapeze. Hey, you know what?
No,
Let's talk about that. Right?
you're
Right? Just got my
you're keeping it toy.
I'm keeping it toy. I just got my hair cut, you know. You can't be sad about turning 60 when you got a little pixie
No,
haircut.
you
Stop
look
it.
amazing. You look
So
amazing, and you've
thank
lived.
you. Thank you.
And you've
I'm
lived.
gonna, yeah, I don't often ask for that, you know, hey, how do I look? No, usually I'm pretty clear on it, but I'm turning 60. So
Well,
my father,
my lesbian sister and her wife think you're hot. So there you go.
you know what? That's all I needed. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. So we lost my father in 1981, back to dad. And my father, when he passed, was one of the five, let's say five, most prominent, most revered, most sought after production designers in Hollywood at the time, because my dad had done such seminal movies as, I mean, he won his Academy Award for Fantastic Voyage, and he'd done Young Frankenstein and Dirty Harry and the King Kong with Jessica Lange, and Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex for Woody Allen, and Sleeper for Woody Allen. Did I say Young Frankenstein? I might have. And just so many, I mean, and those were like just some of the big ones. Logan's Run. My gosh, did I forget to say Logan's Run? Yes, I spent a summer, as I was wont to do at the studios, putting together those little model cars, the little cars that ran through the tubes, you know, in Logan's Run. Yeah, some of those I built. Thank you. So when he passed, I was 19, and it was he was gone in the space of an afternoon. So you know, you don't know how to tie your shoes when you're 19. So losing your father is that's something that nobody should ever have to go through. And how do you deal with that? Well, it was interesting is that my dad, I was the apple of my dad's eye. I was his firstborn with my mother. He had another marriage, and he had a son, my older brother Scott. But I was his first girl. I was his first and only girl. And so dad I had, you know, here's my little finger, and here was my father right there. And I tried not to take advantage of it. I can't say that I always succeeded at that. But my father also was he was a genius. He was a flat out, no holds barred, you know, hey, was there a question? There was no question about it. Genius. His visual sense was beyond compare. He was also a deeply flawed individual, a deeply flawed man. And I'm coming up on 22 years of sobriety in August. Where did I get that from? My dad. And I have no qualms about talking about that, because my dad is now obviously passed on. But I can say, yeah, this is where I got it from. He was a pirate of a guy. He was but he was also an alcoholic. And he died a non-sober alcoholic. So, and we think that probably contributed to his very early passing at the age of 54. But what I remember about my dad, and for those who saw me on Maurice Bernard's State of Mind, watch that, Maurice. All love to Maurice. I don't think I spoke about this, but when my father knew what I wanted to do, what I was, as far as I'm concerned, put on the planet to do, he was skeptical, very supportive, but very skeptical, because my father was a workaday guy. Every crew that worked under my father revered him like you would not believe, because he understood that he was one of them. The crew's the lifeblood of any production. They are smarter than you are. They work harder than you ever will in one day than you will in a year. They're just better people. Certainly better than a lot of actors. Most actors. Let's say all actors, except for me. Okay. So when he knew what I wanted to do and what I was going to do, he said, just revere the crew. That's number one, flat out number one. But number two, don't be phony. He didn't quite know how to articulate what he wanted to say, which was, I've seen him come and I've seen him go. I've seen these actors. Because I'll, when I go and I walk onto the set and look at the scenes, look at the sets, and see how my vision has been realized. I will watch people film and I'll see how they behave, and I'll on screen, off screen. Don't be like that, because he saw a lot. He saw a lot of good. Loved. I mean, he loved Gene Wilder. Who didn't? Loved Gene Wilder from Young Frankenstein. Loved Marty Feldman, Madeline Kahn. But he saw a lot of bad, and he said, "Do not do that. Don't. You are no more special than anyone else in this business, than anyone else on this planet. If you've got a gift, you have a talent. That's great. How are you going to behave? Doesn't matter. A lot of people have talent. How are you going to be off camera? Are you going to be the one that makes Hollywood look good?" And so I have always tried to think, especially as I get older, would this make my father proud? And I think I have. I really do. I mean, I can't. There's a lot I can't say, but I think I can say that because he was such a salt of the earth kind of guy, and why did he drink? We don't know. I've got my hypotheses, I've got my assumptions and my theories, but won't know. We'll never know. But he was just a spectacular, flawed, but spectacular all around human being. And I miss him to this day. So happy Father's Day in absentia, Dad. Look at me. Look at me cheering up. Miss him something fierce. Phenomenal man. So love, one of the great loves of my life. So there.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Carolyn. I really appreciate it. I know one thing I love when I come and visit is seeing your father's artwork in your house. It always is incredible.
It's all over the place. Oh, because in addition to being a production designer, he started out at Disney. He started out working under Walt Disney. And those were the days when Walt was like walking down. Oh, I forgot. I should have said this. Walt was walking down the rows of his animators and illustrators, and he was saying, I think I'd like in my park, I would like to put a haunted mansion. What are your concepts? And so he would get all of these ideas. So I found my father's concept for the haunted mansion. It's not the one that Walt went with, but it's like, yep, there it is. My father was one of the 3 principal designers of Main Street, the one that's still there, and Tomorrowland, the one that isn't there anymore. So yeah, Dad was all over Disney. So he was an illustrator, and he was a fine watercolor and oil artist. And so I've got tons of his work, all over the house. And his father, Hugh Hennessy, who was one of Walt Disney's original layout artists. So I've got tons. Wow. I mean, these are the men who would take a sketchbook and just, and what's next? I mean, and these are, I mean, I've got, Peter Pan and Hook, on the Jolly Roger, and the Blue Fairy coming into Geppetto's workshop. And you just know, and that's actually what they call a blue pencil sketch. It's the entire workshop in various shades of one blue pencil. I mean, one color, cool. Various shades, and so you see everything. This is when, I mean, there's a specific, to work with computer generated graphics these days, that takes an amazing talent. And the way they can animate things today, amazing talent. But back then, it was with this. Yeah. That's it. And what came out, through the head and onto the page with this is, you can't beat it. So yeah. But you see, there's a lot of my dad's artwork and my grandfather's artwork in the house. It's basically the Dale Hennesy gallery. That's my house. It
is, and it's pretty magical. So
yeah.
Yes. So
what do you have, Mr. Conservation, Mr. Animal Advocacy, walking on two legs?
well,
Yes,
you and I were going back and forth earlier this week as we were talking about this, because I am so excited to share with everyone, is I want to talk about some success stories in conservation. And what I want to talk about is thriving.
The bad so much. We talk about what's
I
negative.
know. And it's like, and when really there's some awesome stuff. So Carolyn and I, we in all of our kind of connections, the way we kind of talk to people and find stuff out, what we found out was Uganda has experienced incredible wildlife success. And so in 1996, they began protecting their wildlife. This is thanks to incredible organizations like the Wildlife Conservation Network, San Diego Zoo, SeaWorld Busch Gardens Conservation Fund, the Hogle Zoo.
A zoo?
Oh,
what?
I know, the Frankfurt Zoo. That a whole list of zoos all came together with organizations like Space for Giants and the Giraffe Conservation Fund, and all these large things that they kind of put together. They funded. They provide the research, the science, stuff like that. So I want to go over some fun numbers. So 1996, there was only 153 giraffes in Uganda. Today, there is over 1,900. So that's pretty dang incredible, in my opinion. Elephants, used to be.
This is going to make me cry. This will make me cry, actually. Yeah.
Well, and then elephants, there are only 1,100. Now there's 7,900 in Uganda. Zebras, there were 1,700. There's now 17,000. So again, zebras, good going, zebras. Buffaloes went. Well, we'll go with rhinos. I'm going to say rhinos for last.
Okay.
So buffaloes.
I'll just be quiet.
Buffaloes went from 17,000 to 44,000, and chimpanzees went from 1,000 to 5,000. And this is all absolutely incredible. But really, the cherry on top is exactly what Carolyn was alluding to: is rhinos. There were 0 rhinos in Uganda in 1996, and now there are now 33. And Carolyn can say the obvious: how can you go from 0 to 33, Carolyn?
How can you go from 0 to 33, Eric?
Well, you have to have a zoo.
That's right.
That has protected these animals and conserved them.
You mean these awful institutions that just cage these animals for profit?
Except for that's not the reality at all.
No,
and because
not at all.
So if you visited any of these zoos between 1996 and today, you helped fund the conservation that has now created this amazing wildlife rebound in Uganda, where there's now amazing tourism built around it, amazing hospitality, high-paying jobs, all based around conserving, protecting, and showing off their amazing natural spaces. So,
and now all
good job.
These thousands and because you have a list of those zoos, right? These participating. Okay, so but I want to make sure that everyone knows that these animals that were in the hundreds or the low thousands, and now they're in the tens of thousands, they are all now protected. They are all they're not going to be susceptible to poaching and to
correct. Because your visit to the zoo funded the anti-poaching efforts. It funded the science. It funded the conservation to where now it is a self-sustaining ecosystem.
Say that zoo again, because I think I talked over you.
Oh yeah, no. So your visit to the zoo is what funded all this.
Our general visits to the zoo.
Yeah, our general visit. Yeah.
So if you visited a zoo, people pat yourself on the back.
Yes, honestly, you did this, and like it's one of those things that, like, it's an everyday thing. Being a member of your local zoo, of your local AZA or American Humane Accredited Zoo, this is what funds this kind of conservation effort. Is exactly this.
Yeah. We're not talking again about the roadside attractions or the ones that do not very often care for their animals and should be and those should be shut down. We're talking AZA accredited modern zoos and aquariums. This is, guys, I wonder our viewing audience, you get bombarded. It's almost like you become immune. You become just so unattached to the negative about animals that's coming at you all the time. It's like, it's just another story. But it's
so incredible.
Celebrated.
like again, to go from 0 rhinos to 33 is incredible. And again, that is only possible because of a zoo.
Now,
because
wait a
of
minute. In addition to zoos funding conservation efforts over there, and in addition to zoos funding jobs and funding funding tourism and funding, education, the reason that we can do it, that they can do it, is because they have the
money.
specimens. They've
Oh,
got
and the specimens. Yes.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
A-
So when
And that's
something goes extinct in the wild, oh, the zoo, the horrible, horrible zoo, they've got those. They've got those.
they do.
Yeah.
It's our safeguard. It's our ark. It's whatever you want to call it.
It's
And
the
that's why, I know you and I have had conversations with some pretty crazy people. I remember one time there was a crazy person I was having a conversation with, and it was about polar bears and protecting polar bears because they didn't think that polar bears should be at the San Diego Zoo.
Oh yes, I remember.
And I, we were having this dialogue, and I was having an honest conversation, and this person said, "Well, maybe polar bears should go extinct to teach humanity a lesson."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, excuse me, but I didn't know that you were the person to teach humanity a lesson."
Thank you, God. Thank you for coming down and doing a little dance around us, and
Yes.
and telling us your opinion. Okay, no.
How about we preserve polar bears in a safe place?
Yeah.
Until we can ensure their safety and that they can thrive.
Well,
that is what I'm going to do.
Because humanity has screwed up the world for polar bears and things like that. So it's incumbent upon us with
100%
now to make it right. And that's what these zoological institutions are doing.
Exactly.
They're making it right.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm sure that when polar bears go extinct, humanity's going to be taught a lesson. You bet.
Oh, so bad.
The lack of thought that goes into some of the things that come out of
no. Well, because again, like how many people are kicking themselves for the disappearance of the Great Awk? The Great Awk was a 3-foot tall bird that was basically the North American equivalent of a penguin that we hunted to extinction in the 1800s.
Yeah, well, I know because I was taught that lesson.
Correct.
I learned that lesson.
No, you and I, but we're also, again, I assume most people have.
It's not going to. I mean, to that person who I mean, because I want to actually ask that person, okay, person, who is deciding the fate of polar bears and thinking that they should go extinct to teach us all a lesson. What have you done? What have you personally done to create a new ecosystem, a building? Have you passed legislation? What have you personally done? Or is this just some sort of thing that you're parroting? Are you parroting this activist mindset? Because that ain't gonna do nobody any good. It's just not.
Or how about you get out of the way of people who are actually doing the work, saving the species?
Exactly.
Again,
clear the way.
You think about all the people that we know, Carolyn, who have gone to Uganda and have worked on these projects and have sacrificed, given up family vacations, births, weddings, funerals to be in these places, to where today we all get to celebrate in this massive, massive success.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. What are some of the zoos? By the way, yes, we are once again in my flop house, right? And so, and the windows are open because it's hot in here. I forgot to add air conditioning. Oops. The windows open, and so you can hear the planes circling, helicopters circling. I don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
what are some of these zoos?
So some of the zoos are, again, the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, the Naples Zoo, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, of course, the Blank Zoo Park, which is in Iowa. I did not know that until now. The Smithsonian Zoo in Washington, D.C., the SeaWorld Busch Gardens Conservation Fund, Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, the Auckland Zoo, the Frankfurt Zoo, Nature Conservancy, yes, ZLS, which is a kind of a zoo society. There are so many, and again, it's so inspiring and great to see that all these programs work together. They really created something that has tangible results. So when everyone's like, well, give me an example. You can point to Uganda specifically about this incredible wildlife resurgence.
And you guys now have those numbers. You have what they were and what they are now, and you can use that and say, look, this is because of modern zoos, because of modern aquariums. So if you ever want the facts, if you ever come up against somebody that says zoos are bad, you can say, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. They are actually now promoting species survival. And here are the results. So thank you, producer Eric.
No, always happy.
Slash conservation. Yes, in this segment you become, conservationist Eric.
Yeah, that's true. I am conservationist Eric here. So
well, thank you. I think this was a great show. And I want to thank everybody for being here again. Please keep coming back because we're going to have new sponsors. Hopefully new ones every week. But now we've got Univera. Check it out because I love it. I'm only 2 days in, but I think I really love it. So, and I get given a lot of stuff, a lot of skin stuff. Somebody had asked me about my beauty regimen. It's like, okay, all right. So maybe we'll talk about that next time. Because I know I'm a reincarnated alchemist or apothecary, because I combine a lot of stuff. I put a lot of stuff in a pot. It's like just slather that on. So, but I'm not going to do that with this. Fabulous show. I want to thank everyone for being here. Last words, producer Eric, last thoughts.
Well, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for listening and joining, and I'll let you say goodbye.
Okay. All right. We love him. And by the way, if producer Eric ever comes on and I'm talking and you see him kind of, look down or look this, he's not bored. Trust me, he's not bored. I wouldn't let him be bored, but he's producing in that moment because someone said, well, what is he doing looking away? Well, he's running the entire show. Thank you, producer Eric. Most importantly, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Life, Love, and Conservation with me, your host, Carolyn Hennesy, as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you. And we're just going to continue on talking about things. If you all would like to, please let me know what topics you would like me to talk about. Also, do I have a particular opinion on this or that? Probably won't get into politics or religion. Certainly not politics. But because why? Really, why? What's the point? Let's have fun. So, but anything else, if you would like to know an opinion, give me a topic and I'll try and accommodate. Okay. We will see you next time. Stay safe. Oh, we don't have a conservation tip. Well, yeah, we do. Okay. Here's the tip. Tell at least 10 people about the success in Uganda. Start instilling that in the brain. I'm going to come up with a more concrete list of things you can do, but that's something you can do. You can tell people about the success of the zoological consortium and their success in Uganda. And you now have the numbers. So run, be free, disseminate those numbers. We will see you again next time on the next episode of Life, Love, and Conservation. Thank you. I'm Carolyn Hennesy, giving you lots of love. Bye-bye.